What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome on in. It's 1TS Daily right here at One True Sports. It's Tuesday, October 8th, 2024. I am your host, Zack Heydorn, already having a little bit of technical difficulties this morning. But, oh, man, we got here. The internet's rolling around just fine. Sorry, the little hitch in the step right there. But thank you so much for tuning in. This is 1TS Daily. We are here every single Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday to talk the news of the day in professional wrestling. And it's a big one today, given the fact that we got a bit of a war tonight, a bit of a battle. The old foes are back at it again. NXT versus AEW Dynamite head to head, thanks to a scheduling situation over on TBS with the Major League Baseball playoffs. So, going to be a fun night in professional wrestling, and we're going to talk all about it here. We're also going to talk about this week's episode of Monday Night Raw last night, and so much more. So if you're listening on YouTube, thank you. If you're listening on Twitter and you're watching us there, appreciate you. Thanks for being here. Hit like if you can, you guys. I really would appreciate that. It helps us out. It helps us grow. It helps us get the show in front of more people. So if you're watching on YouTube and you can hit like, please do. That's it's just click. That's it. That's all I ask. But thanks in advance for that. And then, of course, to our members who are listening after the fact to this very show as an audio podcast, thanks so much for your membership. And if you want to learn more about our One True Sports membership options and our tiers, head over to onetruesport.com. In order to do that, we've got 3 different tiers where you can become a member. Membership gets you so much extra content from hosts like myself, but also from some of the biggest names in professional wrestling history, guys like Kurt Angle, guys like Arn Anderson, guys like Rob Van Dam, and so many others. So definitely head over there right now, onetruesport.com. We also have a merch store there too, and you can pick up all the merch that you could want. Is there from our stars and some of our wrestling legends, but also for shows like this. Sport your 1TS Daily merch. If you purchase some merch and if you take a picture, flag it, tag us, surprise for you if you do that. So there you go. If you have 1TS Daily merch, get it out there. Definitely want to see who's got what. For sure. I have the live chat open, you guys. We already got some people in there. Corbin's in there. Fuzzy Dunlop is in there, and others. Thanks so much. If you have questions, comments, leave them there. If you want us to get to something specific in terms of a topic that's maybe on your mind or you heard it this morning on a news show or what have you, drop it in. We'll discuss it. Of course, I've got super chats open and available as well. We always love taking super chats. Your comment and question goes right to the top of the list. If you're able to send a super chat contribution, helps us out, of course, helps me out, of course. So I thank you in advance for that. But the best thing you could do, reminder, is just to hit like on this video and subscribe to One True Sport on YouTube. Okay, we're going to get to the battle that is going to take place tonight between NXT and between AEW. Fuzzy here says in the live chat already, getting trounced by a developmental brand just shows how terrible Tony Khan is at booking wrestling. So we're going to get back to this. We're going to get back to this for sure. But yeah, we're going to get back to that, Fuzzy. Don't worry. So don't go anywhere. We're going to answer this question live here when we preview those shows. But let's first talk last night's episode of Monday Night Raw. It was the first 2-hour episode of Monday Night Raw in 12 years. And I'll tell you what, I don't know about you guys, but I thought that it felt weird. Like, it felt weird to me to have a 2-hour, show on a Monday. It just felt bizarre. Like it's like a 3-hour show on Wednesday would also feel weird. But a 2-hour show on Monday felt odd. I thought that overall, Like it's definitely better long term for WWE to have Raw be 2 hours, no question. That said, I thought last night they didn't quite get the formula down pat. They didn't quite have it like they probably wanted it to. Like some of the matches felt rushed. Some of the matches felt like they ended kind of out of the blue. And so I still think they're even getting used to the fact that that they got to cut an hour away. And how do they do that? Who do they not feature? And it felt like yesterday they were like, oh, we still are going to try to feature everybody, or almost everybody, but jam them in to a 2-hour window. And I just don't think that's going to work long term. The boss is in the chat saying it did feel weird. My only complaint was no follow-up on Finn and Damian. Yeah, I mean, so I think with that, boss, like they're just, I don't know if there is going to be follow-up. Damian won. That's that. I think he moves on. I think he moves on to something else at this point. So we'll see, of course, because Rhea Ripley is still very much entrenched with the Judgment Day. But Damian Priest, I think, got his win, and I think he might be moving on from Judgment Day. That's okay. The show opened with CM Punk, and this was the highlight of the show to me from a segment perspective and just in general. Punk slowly walked out onto the entrance ramp, and he was banged up. He was beat up. He was taped up, and he talked like it. He spoke like it, and he basically said, "I don't know what is next for me. I got to think about my next move. I'm going home now, and I'm going to spend time with my wife, and I'm going to think about what, if anything, is next." I loved this. I thought this was a really good way to not only, write CM Punk off television for a little bit, but more so than that, like sell the idea that Hell in a Cell is this career-altering match. That has always been something that I think WWE and really other wrestling companies can do better with, like selling the aftermath of these big matches. And Punk was great here. He was great at like showing the effect and the impact that Hell in a Cell had. It not only makes his match better, and it not only makes his win better, and it not only puts over Drew McIntyre, like on a separate track, but it sets up future Hell in a Cell matches. Like it sells those like in advance because you're putting so much into that match. And Punk was great out there. He was great just kind of saying it like it is. He thanked his fans, he thanked his peers, he talked about his haters, and that's that. But I thought it was a really good way to put a bow on everything that happened at Hell in a Cell and inside Hell in a Cell with Drew McIntyre. So thumbs way up on this. I don't know what's next for CM Punk. My guess would be, we got the little interaction with Seth Rollins last night. I still think that's the WrestleMania 41 match for both those guys. But to me, you kind of cool it on Punk a little bit. Like maybe he does something with Finn Balor or Judgment Day. Maybe he's the guy that slides into that role, rather than, feed him to Gunther right away. I think that there's just like I'm not saying you downgrade him or his position, but it's like he's been such a prominent fixture. Like I think he could use something not super serious to just have a quick rivalry, win the feud, and then move on. I think Judgment Day would be perfect for him on that. So we'll see. Boss says as far as Drew goes, do Drew versus Cena. Hey, that's a big match. That's a big match, especially in 2025 with Cena coming back for his retirement tour. Like that's one that would be on my list if I was Cena and if I was Triple H. Like we're doing that one. So I could see them. I could see them definitely going that direction. All right, then we had first match of the night after that, Xavier Woods against Jey Uso for the Intercontinental Championship. Jey won this quickly. This is one of those matches that I thought felt really, really rushed. And I don't know if it's because they were like, oh crap, we got to shorten up the show here, but it felt rushed. And Jey Uso hit a super kick on Xavier Woods from the top rope, and that was it. 1, 2, 3 pin. And after the match, Xavier Woods kind of just shrugs off Jey, does not abide by the code of honor, doesn't shake hands with him, and kind of looks like a jerk in doing so. So that was that. We also had Braun Breaker kind of return and attack Jey Uso again. It felt really bizarre to me. I did not like the pivot back to Braun Breaker being this menacing heel. Like, what was with last week? What was with last week? What was with last week? And not only, shaking Jay's hand, but also like confronting Gunther. Very babyface-ish last week, and now he's back to like same old crazy Braun this week. Something is afoot there. I don't know if they just changed direction or whether or not, this was always the plan, but either way, it's not good for Braun. I think you want to have more of a white glove approach with him and know what you're doing, have a roadmap and get there. Instead, it's like 1 week they're one place, 1 week they're another. I don't think that's the right way to go with him. I think he's more compelling, as a babyface right now anyway, because people are, chanting for him and barking for him, I guess. Oh, gosh. All right. Okay, from there, we had Sheamus versus Pete Dunne in a Donnybrook match. Just your standard run-of-the-mill brawl. Good match. Sheamus wins with an impressive white noise off of a stack of barrels, which I thought was pretty cool spot. So good stuff there. We had Sonya Deville, Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark, Pure Fusion Collective, team with Alba Fire and Isla Dawn to face Natalya, Lyra Valkyria, Kaden Carter, Katana Chance, and Zelina Vega in the most random tag team match in a long time in WWE. You had the babyfaces win. This is a weird match to have on the show. Like, don't have this one. Have Jey Uso go a little bit longer with his match with Xavier Woods. Like, this very much felt out of place. Pure Fusion Collective, like, are they going with them or are they not? Are they trying to build them up or are they not? This is kind of like middle of the road booking 50-50 on them, and I don't think you get a good sense like where WWE is at with them or what they're supposed to make you feel out there. So a bit of a weird situation there. And then it was already time for the main event. Gunther versus Sami Zayn for the World Heavyweight Championship. This was an excellent match. Love this match. I know that the Goldberg stuff from Bad Blood had a lot of people thinking that Gunther might lose here. But I never thought that. This always seemed to me like, all right, Gunther's going to win and add to his another notch on his belt from a title defense perspective. And that's exactly what happened. But Sami Zayn, like the hope spots that they built into that match were fantastic. And the audience fully buying Sami as a challenger and behind him as a challenger and willing him on as a challenger. It just didn't, it just didn't work out. It just didn't work out. And so, I don't know where he goes. I can see him like falling right back in line with the bloodline storyline that they're telling. But regardless, Gunther survives another day as champion, and they had a really, really strong main event. Fun to see Cody Rhodes and Gunther kind of go face to face. They'll be wrestling for the Crown Jewel Championship. The best of the best, which I've, of course, have significant issues with, and you can listen to yesterday's show if you want to hear what those are. And I think they're valid, but nonetheless, that is a match that's taking place, and they're at least working to build that up as a major match that'll take place in Saudi Arabia. So yeah, you had that face off. It seems like fans, fully behind Cody, of course, within that. And there you go. There was this week's episode of Raw. What did you guys think of the show? Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the chat. And we'll discuss a little bit further here. Tonight, though, we've got a continued battle of wits between NXT and AEW. It's been a long time since they've been head to head again. And this situation is entirely different than they've been in before when they've been battling. Netflix is on the CW network. That's broadcast television. AEW is movie nights. Normally they're on Wednesdays. They're running a special Title Tuesday show because of the Major League Baseball playoffs, and thus here we go. We get the battle again. So I'm really curious to see how this plays out from a ratings perspective. NXT did humongous numbers last week, on CW. Now that's the premiere episode, and it had CM Punk and it had two title matches, two very key title matches. This week's card is weaker. This week's card is weaker than that. It did 895,000 viewers last year, which is 200,000 more ish than AEW Dynamite got. Now it's different days, there you go. But nonetheless, NXT is drawing some eyes. And so who wins? Who wins? Do you even care? I do. I think it's just not because I care one way or the other, but I think it's just interesting to see who is going to put on, the better show, and, not so much the better show in the moment, but who, has made it more enticing for fans to tune in to their product, NXT or AEW. So tonight on AEW, this is what we've got on tap. Major tag team match: Bryan Danielson and Wheeler Yuta versus Pac and Claudio Castagnoli. Willow Nightingale is going to face Britt Baker, and the winner gets a shot at the AEW Women's Championship at Wrestle Dream. Mercedes Moné is going to face Emi Sakura for the TBS Championship and the New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong Women's Championship. Hook is going to call out his attacker, or his father's attacker, excuse me. Taz got attacked last week on Dynamite, and now Hook wants to know who it was. And then Darby Allin and Brody King will meet face to face in the ring. So there you go. That's Dynamite. On the NXT side of things, we've got a pretty big show with some main roster talent on it. Randy Orton heads to NXT. He's going to face Javon Evans. The show's in Randy Orton's home city of St. Louis, so it makes sense for him to be there. Obafemi versus Tony D'Angelo for the NXT North American Championship. Axiom and Nathan Frazier are going to face Grayson Waller and Austin Theory for the NXT Tag Team titles. And then Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill will be teaming with Kalani Jordan to face Jacy Jayne, Fallon Henley, and Jasmine Nix. Trick Williams is going to appear as the new NXT champion. And then, of course, NXT Women's Championship, Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade, who made her return last week on the show, will also appear. So, boy, oh boy, it's tough to say. And hello, Amy. Amy's here in the chat. What's going on, Amy? Thanks for being here. Glad you made it. It's just not the same without you here. So thank you for being here. I think NXT has the better show tonight. I just straight up, I think they do. And they're pulling some strings to get it. I think if you don't have Randy Orton on the show, I think if you don't have Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill on the show, I think you've probably got an issue, but they do. And I think between that and between people, they did a nice job building up Obafemi and Tony D'Angelo last week on the show. So, I think people are interested in that. I think people are interested in seeing Obafemi specifically. So you have that. Trick Williams is going to be on the show as NXT champion, babyface champion that was crowned last week. I think people who tuned in last week are going to want to see, what happens with him. So I think that they're just set up for a better night in the end than AEW Dynamite is. Bryan Danielson and Wheeler Yuta against Pac and Claudio Castagnoli, okay, it's a pay-per-view go-home show. This is how you're going to go home for that big Bryan Danielson, Jon Moxley showdown. I don't know. We'll see what they got. We'll see what they do. But, that's not a must-see match. Willow Nightingale versus Britt Baker. I like the match, but it's also a Britt Baker match. So, what does that mean at this point? And then the rest is all just kind of Mercedes Moné versus Emi Sakura. You're not going to draw eyes with that, although it's always good to see Mercedes Moné in the ring. Hook calling out Taz's attacker. Okay, good. But again, nothing that's going to draw eyes over from NXT. And Darby Allin, being on the show, that matters. I think he's a nice draw. So we'll see there. But when you line these shows up head to head, in my eyes, NXT, takes the cake by a wide margin. Real quick, couple preview points for each of these shows. Randy Orton versus Javon Evans. I'm really interested to see what Randy Orton does with Evans in that match. I mean, Evans is a young talent, high flyer, right? Is Orton gonna play along and sell for that guy? I don't know. Like, it can be a really good match. It also could be a match that just exists to do some crazy, RKO out of nowhere counter, right? I think it's very much a possibility that the match exists just for that, to get some buzz after the fact, a lot of social media hype and social media views. But, we'll see. But I mean, Orton and Javon Evans is such an interesting match for them to do. Of all the matches that you can have for Randy Orton in NXT, like, that's the weirdest one in my eyes. And so I'm curious to see like how they book, how they book it. Well, I know how they're going to book it, but what they do and what Orton decides he wants to do with Javon Evans, I think that's supremely interesting in terms of like trying to figure out why Orton is there, other than to pop a town in St. Louis. Obviously, that's the reason. But why don't you put him against Ethan Page? Why don't you put him against against somebody like Tony D'Angelo, against somebody like Claudio Castagnoli? So I don't know. We don't know. We'll find out. We'll find out soon enough. All right, that's the battle. We'll talk about it all tomorrow, right here on the show, 1TS Daily. So you're not going to want to miss that one. Let's get into some news that hit this morning. It's about the Janelle Grant case with Vince McMahon, and the sexual assault and the sex trafficking case and lawsuit that Vince is a part of right now. Basically, what happened this morning was the attorney for Janelle Grant, who has accused WWE and Vince McMahon, has accused Vince McMahon of sexual assault and sex trafficking, has asked Endeavor, which is the company that currently owns WWE via TKO Group, to not enforce non-disclosure agreements with current and former employees. This was sent to an email to the attorneys for WWE and for Vince McMahon. And this would, of course, allow others with similar allegations to come forward about what happened between them and Vince McMahon. And this is from the email directly, and it's from the takedown on SI. The quote is here: if WWE and its parent company Endeavor are serious about parting ways with Vince McMahon and the toxic workplace culture he created, their executives should have no problem with releasing former WWE employees from their NDAs. This is the first step to rehabilitating a company that covered up decades of sexual abuse and human trafficking. So that's that. WWE, to my knowledge, as I report on this here, has not responded to that. Neither has Vince McMahon's attorneys. But I think it's a smart play on their part, as they work this case. And if you're Endeavor, like, I don't know, like, you're there. I just don't know what to say from their perspective. Yeah, they're not like legally bound to do so, but if you do really want to turn the page, and Endeavor should, and TKO absolutely should, that's a good step to do it. The good step to show that you're serious about what you say in terms of Vince McMahon. There, of course, are legal ramifications to doing so, but again, from just a human perspective, like, put your money where your mouth is, TKO and Endeavor, and do it. I mean, to me, obviously, that's my opinion, but that's the situation, and I think Endeavor could repair public opinion on them regarding this if they take that request seriously. So, of course, legally they're not bound to do so, but we'll see. We'll see how they react to this. But it's a pretty big moment in in that case specifically regarding Vince McMahon and Janelle Grant. Okay, let's see here. What's the other news news point that I wanted to hit? Oh yeah, right. Okay, so yesterday in the Sports Business Journal, it was reported that that the New York, New Jersey group that is putting on SummerSlam inside MetLife Stadium is using the relief fund that was given to them from the federal government from COVID in order to pay to put on the event, $7.125 million. Now, like that money is earmarked for to help industries like travel, like tourism, and so to that end, I think it's okay. You kind of nod your head and go, okay, cool, like that makes sense. But then it's like WWE's collecting that money, like that's just odd to me. Yeah, just is odd to me. Doesn't pass the smell test. The Sports Business Journal reporting that the group expects to make $80 million in economic impact from the event. So obviously, like a very, very strong return on that investment. But it just, I don't know. It seems a little fishy, if you ask me. So there you go. That's the news nuggets for today, guys. And we'll wrap up there. Thanks so much for being here. I appreciate it. Always fun to talk wrestling with you guys every morning, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 11 Eastern, right here at One True Sport. Tomorrow, of course, we will review AEW Dynamite. We'll review NXT, and we'll also just chat about that battle. Who did what? Who won? Not necessarily in the terms of ratings, because we won't have that by the time we go live, but just in terms of, who had the better show. We'll talk about it all. Thanks so much to the boss. Thanks so much to Fuzzy. Thanks so much to Amy, Corbin, and others who joined us live. Appreciate in the live chat. Appreciate that. Once again, if you're watching this, hit like on the video. Helps us out greatly. And we will see everybody tomorrow right here at 1TS Daily, right here at One True Sport. Have a wonderful, wonderful Tuesday, everybody. And we'll talk to you guys really, really soon. See ya.